Hello, friends of Serge and modular synthesis in general. I'm doing a kind of unboxing video, except it's not really an unboxing video because it's more of an unveiling video, because even though I really have got this machine just out of the box, as it were, I had to build the box myself, and it's a project that's taken me the whole of this last winter. A bit of construction, a bit of screwing together, a bit of box building, and the aim has been to build a Eurorack Serge version of the Series 79 Serge Modular that many people will have already seen in many of my previous videos. But for the first time, this is in a Eurorack Serge version. I've tried to get as close as possible to what was in the original Serge Series 79 3-level synth, 3 boxes, 3 skiffs as they're called nowadays, that Serge put together as a kind of little complete package for purchase in, well, it was already advertised in 1978, but I was involved in buying one in 79 and I use it a lot, and I wanted to see if I could put something together that's near enough Eurorack version of that. I'll just turn the sound right down to a minimum for the moment to explain what's actually in this version now and how it differs from the original Series 79. The things that it's got in that are the same is it's got a noise unit, it's got smooth and step generator, it's got the dual processor, it's got the dual universal slope generator, and it's got something that approximates to the universal audio processor that was in the Series 79. This is a little bit different. This is now called the stereo mixer, and it doesn't have 4 separately usable VCA channels. It has 2 VCA channels with a VC pan channel. Then it's got the audio mixer, which would have been down the bottom right here in the original Serge 79. It's got 2 new timbre oscillators, whereas the Serge 79 had, Series 79 had only 1 new timbre oscillator, and it had 2 precision oscillators, precision controlled oscillators, PCOs. It's got wave multipliers, which are similar to the 79, and it's got a variable Q filter, which is similar to the Series 79. But I've also put in here another filter that didn't belong to the Series 79, which I happened to get hold of in this process, and this is really taking the place of where in the Series 79 there were 2 dual transient generators, so a dual version of this but in a much smaller footprint. And then it's got the TKB sequencer. This is pretty much the same sequencer as in the Series 79. And then I've got a divide by N comparator, which was not in the Series 79, but this is proving to be quite useful. And then, because I had a big problem to find an equivalent of the precision oscillator, which had both an LFO switch and a regular audio switch, so you could switch between LFO and audio. We had 2 of those, you remember, in here. I've had to find something that gets close to doing the trick, except there's a long story behind it. You can't find anything close to the Serge precision oscillator. This is a very sad sad state of affairs on the market at the present time. But I've also put in as extras a Pittsburgh duophonic MIDI interface, which is actually in use now in this batch, and I've put in a 2 HP quantizer, which is really takes up very little of a footprint and is right next to one of the oscillators here. So now I can get quantized levels, for example, out of the sequencer, which wasn't possible with the Serge version, and that can be quite a handy feature. I'd like to lament a little bit more the fact that there's no precision oscillator available anymore. The one I'm using here is a Pico oscillator from Erica Synths, and what I could be using here could be the Ladik oscillator, which is in 4 HP, or I could be using the micro VCO from duophonic, which is also in 4 HP. And there's a problem with each one of these for emulating the precision oscillator, because, for example, the Pico VCO here, and I don't know whether this is because it's digital or whatever, but it won't trigger anything. There isn't a waveform in it that will do any triggering on this Serge. So it won't, without putting the output of it through a comparator first, you can't get it to trigger anything, which is kind of absurd for any regular analog modular oscillator. And the problem with the Ladik and the micro VCO of duophonic is that they don't have the sine wave for doing the low frequency sine wave modulation that you need for giving vibrato and so on. Ideally, for vibrato, you need a sine wave oscillator which is bipolar rather than a unipolar triangle oscillator. So there's problems in that department. So we're having to make do with what we've got here at the moment. But one of the interesting things is that the new timbre oscillator, even though obviously it's a lot of real estate to use for a vibrato oscillator, you can force it to go quite low in terms of frequency, not using the regular knob here, but if you put the output of the dual processor, where you can get the offset voltage, put a negative offset in, and you can put it through either one of the regular control 1 volt per octave, or even better still, if you put it into the variable frequency input, you can get the frequency of the NTO to go quite remarkably low. I haven't actually taken the timing on it, but it's below, well below 1 Hertz anyway, and so plenty within the range for doing vibrato. So if anybody's curious about where I sourced this stuff from, apart from these extra modules, this noise generator, the dual processor, the audio mixer, these are all from ARC, and the TKB touch sequencer is from ARC, and all the other modules are from random source. Of course, most people will recognize those. And it was very difficult to collect these together because there isn't a kind of one-stop source to get all of these at any one time. I've had to really stake out the net continuously to be able to find the availability of these different modules, and in many cases had to put them together from kits. But I can so easily connect a MIDI keyboard and use the MIDI keyboard. I'm using the MIDI keyboard repeat function to get a regular pulse and a regular clock pulse going in, so I can make these drones with a regular clock that comes in through the Pittsburgh MIDI interface. So this has some possibilities that didn't exist in the 79, even though the 79 was such a beautiful synth and such a versatile synth to work with for all kinds of improvisation stuff. This might work a little bit better for more popular music genres than that synthesizer did in its day. So that's my unboxing for today. I'll go on make some videos about using this and maybe about the differences, because there are some interesting differences, kind of additional features in these modules which gives them a certain new flexibility. There's not a great deal that's taken away from the original feature set, but there are some interesting new switches in the new feature set, you could say. So thanks for this video for today.